3 minutes before we see record closes of all three indices, if these numbers hold, as stocks hit these records, even in the face of this unprecedented mass shooting in Vegas. The market's been resilient not only after mass shootings like today, but deadly hurricanes, escalating nuclear threats from North Korea, and the announcement of the great unwinding of the Federal Reserve's gigantic balance sheet. Janet Yellen, the chair, had announced that last week. So as the market hurdles over these roadblocks, will the hurdlers eventually stumble? We bring in Ameriprise financial chief market strategist David Joy. What would trip them up, if not all of these things?
Well, if you look at the market fundamentals, they're all working in our favor for higher prices, and that's why stocks are setting new records. The economy is growing moderately, but pretty well. No inflation, still accommodative monetary policy, strong earnings, good global growth. So I think if you look at each one of those, maybe the most likely to derail things would be if the Fed is forced to start to tighten a little bit more aggressively, if we ever start to see some signs of inflation. Maybe that's the most immediate risk, but even then, that's kind of a low probability event at this point.
Isn't that interesting that you say the Fed? I thought, as you were saying what I think the only thing that could do it, I thought you were going to say North Korea, like a huge exogenous shock from an overseas drama story.
Well, that could do it, certainly. If something, unforeseeable happened, certainly that would do it. But that's very difficult to plan for, other than to say maintain a well-diversified portfolio. But once you've done that, then the market's pretty effective at just, compartmentalizing information. And when it does that in this environment, it's seeing a pretty benign environment for higher assets.
So you're saying people should be emotional about what happened, but not emotional in their moves with their own portfolio in the wake of this. That said, if anything were to keep you up at night, what stocks would keep you calmer that were in your portfolio?
Well, I think if you look right now, what's leading the market higher, it's a little bit of a return to this reflationary theme that we saw around the election time and into the first part of the year. That's starting to come back to life. And I think that's consistent with the upturn in the global economy that we're seeing. So, I think you want to be watching to see if there's follow through in that regard. Are we going to see a continuation of this good economic data? And today, we had some very good data in that respect.
They didn't put your picks up, I don't think, but let us put them up. Chevron, BB&T, and Credit Suisse.
Well, these are a couple of sectors that we like in particular. Financials benefiting from the faster economic growth, improving net interest margins, and maybe big beneficiaries from tax reform, especially in the banking system. BB&T might be a big beneficiary. Chevron, the energy sector is improving. They're a real kind of a turnaround story in terms of their capital management.
Okay.
And
Thank you so much.
Sure.